Good morning. Welcome to Yoga by Jacquelyn. I'm Jacquelyn, and this morning we're going to be doing a morning class mixed yoga flow. We would like to have our feet about hip distance apart. We'll spread our toes nice and wide and root down through each one of the toes. Our heels are about hip distance apart. We want to stack the knees directly over the heels directly under the hips. Lift the heart up nice and tall. Take the shoulders, roll them back and down away from the ears, kind of stacking them directly over the hips. We'll reach down through the right hand, palm facing forward. Reach down through the left hand, palm facing forward. And then a gentle, soft face, closing the eyes. Taking a few breaths here. Tadasana or mountain pose. We want to feel connected to the earth. We want to feel equal weight distribution in both feet, so we can kind of lean over to the right and then maybe lean back over to the left and then perhaps lean forward a little bit and lean back a little bit. So we want to find our center somewhere in between all of those, right, left, forward, back. Hearts lifted. Let's begin to draw the belly button in towards the spine, engaging the core. There's a slight tuck of the tailbone to stack the spine up nice and tall. Stretch up through the crown of the head. See if you can make yourself just a little bit taller. Eyes are still closed. Our arms and hands are reaching down towards the floor. Our toes are pressing into the mat. And equal weight distribution between right and left and front and back. Perfect. Begin to let go of all the distractions and thoughts crossing our mind. Just with the exhale, letting them go. Perfect. One more breath in here. Big breath in. And exhale, let it out. Perfect. One more through the mouth. We'll inhale through the nose. As we exhale, let out a big sigh. Great. Let's begin to open the eyes, become aware of the room around us. Release the arms, and let's step ourselves nice and wide on the mat. We're going to turn our toes about 45 degrees. We're going to come into a squat doing our moonflowers. So with moonflowers, it's our knees are going in a 45-degree angle. Our tailbone is tucked under with our belly button drawn in. And not so much tucked under that it's scooped, but just a slight tuck under so that way our pelvic girdle is nice and neutral. It's not dipping forward, it's not dipping backwards, it's somewhere in the middle. Belly button is drawn in towards the spine so the core is nice and strong here. Toes are rooted into the ground. Let's reach the arms up in kind of a jumping jack type style. Nice big X maybe. So belly button drawn in, tailbone tucked under. As we exhale, we're going to bend the knees, draw the elbows in towards the spine. Our fingers are spread out nice and wide. So we're coming into a nice kind of squat here. And we don't want our knees to pass our toes. We'd like them to be in alignment with the heels or the middle of the foot. So holding here, and then as we inhale, come back up to that 5-pointed star. Exhale, bend the knees, draw the elbows in, and our hands are kind of down by the knees. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, come down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Good. Inhale up. And exhale down. Inhaling, stretching long. Exhaling, squeezing the core, squeezing the elbows in. Inhale up. Exhale down. Good. Let's do 4 more of these. And you can do them at your own perfect pace if you want to go a little bit slower or a little bit quicker. Your choice. Bending the knees, sinking the hips down. Exhaling, squeezing the belly button in. As we inhale, we're reaching out nice and long. Last one, let's hold here, hold in the squat. Our knees are open wide, elbows squeezing in, arms are opening up, chest feels open. So if we're hunching or rounding, let's reverse that. Good. Inhale, 5-pointed star. Perfect. Release. Shake it out maybe if you need to. From here, we'll come into our sunflowers. So sunflower is a more active pose where we're hinging from the hips, right at the hips here, hinging forward. Our knees are bending also, and our arms are sweeping, and our back is rounding once we come a little bit lower. So I'll show you what a sunflower looks like at first. So you inhale, sweep the arms up. As we exhale, bending the knees, swan dive forward, then start to round the back. Give yourself a little bear hug. Let your head release so your neck is nice and loose. And then we inhale, sweep the arms out, hinge, flatten the back, and then come all the way up, straighten the legs, hands come up tall. Okay, so we're going to do about 10 to 15 of those. So when you're ready to, inhale, sweep up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, round the spine, tuck the chin. Inhale, open up. Grow open like a sunflower, big. Exhale, come down. Good. Rooting through the heels. Rooting through the toes. Exhale, hinging from the hips. Head drops down. Inhale, open up. Exhale, down. Good. Bending the knees. When we come down, we want our hips to sink down before we start to round the spine and surrender. Inhale, opening up, stretching out. Long, wide, tall. Exhale, down. Good. Inhale, open up. Exhale, down. So let's do 7 of these more on our own, with our own perfect pace, rooting down them through the feet. We're always inhaling as we're extending and exhaling as we're contracting. Good. Sinking the butt down. So it's a full body workout. You're really working most all the muscles in the body. Last one. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, bend the knees, sink it down, sink the glutes down, round the spine, hold onto the shoulders. Big bear hug here. Let the head drop down. Take a breath. And then inhale, open all the way up. And release the arms. And let's walk the feet towards one another. Nice. All right, so from here, we're going to go into Utkatasana, or chair pose. We'd like our feet hip distance apart. Spread the toes nice and wide. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Big breath in. As we exhale, we're going to hinge the hips a little bit, bend the knees, sink down into a chair pose, pretending there's a chair behind you. Getting it nice and low. And if it's a little bit much to extend the arms, we can bring the hands to heart center. We want to take the belly button and draw it in so the core is firm. Knees are bent. Hands where you'd like them. Sinking back. We want the weight in the hips and the heels. Inhale up. Exhale, sit back down. Good. Inhale up. Exhale down. Coming into a flow here. Inhale up. Exhale down, sinking the hips towards the heels. We'd like our knees not to go too far past our toes. We'd like them to stay center. That's why we're shooting the hips back. Good. Belly button's drawn in so the core is firm. Hands can be at heart center. Good. Let's do 2 more. And notice if your knees are diving in. Try to keep them hip distance apart. Last one, let's hold here. Holding at heart center, sinking down. Inhale, push through the feet. Exhale, release. Maybe you start to feel some warmth in the thighs and the quads here. And let's go, let's see. Let's do an inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. As we exhale, we're going to swan dive forward. Hinge at the hips, lead with the heart. Coming down into a forward fold. Inhale, let's reverse swan dive up. Slight bend in the knees. All the way up. Exhale, bend the knees, hinge forward. One more time, inhale up. Exhale, release. Coming down. Perfect. Let's throw in one more for good measure. Why not, right? Inhale all the way up. Exhale, bend the knees slightly, hinge from the hips, lead with the heart, and then surrender into forward fold. So forward fold, our head's hanging heavy, chin slightly tucked towards the chest, and our legs can be straight if it feels good for us. They can have a slight bend in the knees. Our arms are draped down towards the ground. The crown of our head is melting down towards the mat. We can crisscross our forearms if that feels good for us. We can sway from side to side, releasing some tension in our lower back. And from here, come back to stillness, back to center. Release the hands down. Let's walk them forward, walk them out in front of us. And then walk the feet back, coming into our first downward facing dog of the day. So the first one of the day, maybe we need to pedal the heels. Maybe we need to work on opening up the armpits. So we want our arms to be straight. We want our hands planted into the mat. Fingers spread out nice and wide. And a good way to check to see if we have a good alignment for downward facing dog is coming forward to a plank pose. Shoulders over elbows over wrists. If we're good here, then we should be good in our downward facing dog. Send the hips up and back. Good. So from here, let's do a right leg flow. Lift the right foot all the way up to the sky. Hips are still squared down towards the mat. Extending the right leg, maybe flexing through the heel. And then as we exhale, let's pull our right knee towards our right tricep. Coming forward into a plank with our right knee towards our right elbow. Then coming back, inhale here. Exhale, knee to the right elbow. Good. Inhale up. Exhale, knee to the right elbow. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale up. Last one, let's hold here. And come back. Release the right leg, switching sides. Now left leg comes up with the inhale. Hips are squared towards the mat. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, open up. Exhale, left knee to the left elbow. Inhale, open up. Exhale. Good. 2 more times on this side. Exhaling as we're squeezing. Inhaling as we're elongating. Exhale, hold here. Breathing, press the hands on the mat, press the floor away from you. Inhale, back up. Exhale, release. If we need a little rest, we can drop down into child's pose, knees on the ground, sink the hips towards the heels, let the forehead rest on the mat. Extend the arms out in front of us. Check back in with our breathing. Controlling our breath. If we're deciding not to wait in child's pose, we can always flow through a half series. Inhaling forward to plank, chaturanga down, inhale, up dog, and exhale, down dog. So we can do 3 or 4 of these, keeping the warmth in the body, or we can find a resting place in our child's pose and hanging out there. Perfect. So whatever we decide to do, those child's pose, maybe we'll take 4 more breaths. The half series, plank, chaturanga, up dog, down dog. And wherever you're at, let's go ahead and come up from our child's pose, come down from our down dog, plant the knees down on the mat, hips over the knees. Walk the hands out in front of us so that the wrists are under the elbows, elbows under the shoulder. Fingers spread wide. We're going to press down through the heels of our hands, underneath the knuckles, and squeeze or grip with the fingers, almost like you're trying to claw the earth. Let's do a couple of cat-cows here. Let's inhale, drop the belly button down, lift the tailbone up, lift the chin, roll the shoulders back, open the heart, look up towards the sky. Exhale, rounding the spine, tucking the chin towards the chest, tucking the tailbone under. Inhale, open up. Exhale, round. Press the hips towards the armpits. And then inhale, open up. Tailbone lifts. Shoulders are back. Exhale, round. Let's do this 3 more times. Inhale, open up. Exhale, round. Find your own perfect pace to continue the last one. And then we'll come back to a neutral position. Neutral spine here. We'll come into our spinal balance. Suck in the belly button. Lengthen the spine. We're going to begin to draw the right leg up off of the mat and draw the left arm up off of the mat. So right leg, left arm. So opposite arm and leg. Extend long through the left hand. Extend long through the right leg. You can flex through the right heel. We want to make sure our right hip isn't reaching up towards the sky. It's equal distance to the ground as our left one is. Belly button's drawn in. Gaze is down at the mat. Switching sides. Left leg goes back. Right arm comes up. And our right arm is kind of handshake mode. And switching sides. So we're going to inhale, elongate the body. Right leg, left arm. Exhale, release. Switch sides. Left leg, right arm. Release. Inhale, open up. Extend long. Exhale, release. So find your own perfect pace, flowing from side to side here. And remembering, as we're extending up, we're not letting the belly melt down, keeping the neutral spine. Belly button is sucked in towards the spine, so the core is engaged. And it's really easy to take the knees and bring them closer together when we drop down. It makes us really wobbly and unstable when we're trying to lift the opposite leg. So we're trying to bring the knee back down, place it back under the hip before we switch sides. And same thing with the arms. Hands are directly under the shoulders. Let's go 2 more times on each side. Hopefully remember to end on the opposite side than we started with. And let's sink down to child's pose. Take a rest here. And next thing we're going to do is our modified half series. We're going to inhale forward to a modified plank. Walk the knees back. Let the hips sink down with the knees and the shoulders, somewhere in alignment there. Shoulder blades are back. Pressing down the earth down away from you. Notice if we're tucking the chin towards the chest, we want to lengthen through the spine here. As we exhale, elbows are going to squeeze in. They're going to graze the sides of the rib cage as we lower down. Inhale, lift the chin, lift the chest, squeeze the elbows back. There's not a lot of pressure in the hands, pressing through the tops of the feet. Exhale, press back, child's pose. Inhale forward, modified plank. Exhale, elbows graze the sides of the rib cage. Inhale, chest lifts, elbows squeeze. Exhale, press into the hands, child's pose. Inhale forward. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, lift the chest up. Exhale, child's pose. 2 more times. Inhale forward. Squeeze the elbows in. Exhale. Chest lifts. Press back. Last one. Inhale forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Chest lifts. And exhale, child's pose. Resting in child's pose here, taking a few breaths, perhaps taking some water. maybe starting to notice the heat we're building in our body. All right, before we get too comfortable in our child's pose, let's find our downward facing dog. Lifting the hips up. See if we can press the hips back just a little farther towards the back of the mat. And then we'll walk our feet up towards our hands. See if we can keep our hands connected to the earth, round the spine, walk the feet up. And then surrender into forward fold. Relax the head, relax the neck. And let's roll it up one vertebrae at a time. All the way up. Phew, starting to feel a little warm. I don't know about you guys. All right, so next from here, we're going to do our sun salutation. We start in Tadasana, our mountain pose. Dandasana, we'd be sitting on our butts. Tadasana, we're standing on our feet. So starting in mountain pose, tailbone slightly tucks, belly button draws in, heart lifts, shoulders back and away from the ears, reach down through the hands. Lift the knees away from the ankles without hyperextending or locking out the knees. And sun salutation, here we go. We're going to bend the knees, sweep the arms up, big breath in. Exhale, little back bend here. Squeeze the hands, come back to center. Exhale, swan dive forward, hinge from the hips, lead with the heart. Surrender into forward fold. Plant the hands down, step back with the right foot. Find a nice high lunge. Good. Hands still planted, step back with the left foot. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the heart, squeeze the elbows in, roll the shoulders back. Press through the tops of the feet, maybe a slight lift in the knee. Exhale, roll over the toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg comes up. Exhale, right foot steps forward. Now we're in a high lunge on the right side. Press through the left heel. Nice straight back leg. Step up. Find your forward fold. Surrender the head. Inhale, reverse swan dive up. Hinge from the hips. Lead with the heart. Come all the way up. Good. Exhale, swan dive forward. Plant the hands down this time. Step back with the left foot. Nice high lunge on the right side. Hands plant down. Step back with the left foot. Plank pose. Deep breath in here. Exhale, chaturanga. Squeeze the elbows in. Chest comes down before the belly. Inhale, upward facing dog. Squeeze the elbows in. Press through the tops of the feet. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg goes up. And exhale, bring the left foot forward. Finding a high lunge on the right or the left side. Right leg, right heel presses back. Lift the right knee. Step up, find forward fold. Reverse swan dive all the way up. Exhale, release. Whoops. Good. Sweep up, big breath in. Swan dive. Plant the hands, step back, left foot. Nice high lunge on this side, right side, lifting the left knee. Step back, plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg goes up on the inhale. Exhale, sweep the right foot forward. High lunge. Lift up through the left knee. Step up. Find your forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive up. Good. Exhale, release. Perfect. Nice job. All right, so now that we're in a standing position, let's do a chest expansion. We'll kind of counteract all that hunching and rolling forward that we do throughout our daily routines. So feet can be about hip distance apart. Let's take the hands, reach for the hands behind the back. So clasping the hands here. Take the shoulders, roll them back like you're squeezing them together, like you're trying to hold a pencil right between the shoulder blades. And then roll them down the back. See if you can squeeze them together and then press down. Good. And sometimes this starts to, as we squeeze back and press down, it starts to kind of arch the belly and tilt the tailbone. So we want to have a neutral tailbone, neutral spine. So Give a little squeeze to the glutes, a little tuck to the tailbone, and not a huge tuck, but just a little tuck. Good. And if our hands aren't available, we can use a strap and hang on to a strap in one hand and then hold it in the other hand and work our hands towards one another. Or we can reach for the wrists behind the back. So holding onto the wrists, walking our hands towards our elbows. Still same thing. Pretend we're squeezing that pencil right between the shoulder blades and then press back and down. Good. Now if you want to, if you're hanging onto the hands, we can hinge from the hips, a little bend in the knees, hinge from the hips, and surrender forward. Let the head hang heavy, still squeezing through the shoulder blades, holding that pencil between the shoulder blades. Good, our legs can be straight or the knees can be bent gently here. Our chest is open, our shoulder blades are squeezing. And then as we exhale, bring the hands back down towards the hips, release the arms down towards the ground, and let's roll it up one vertebrae at a time, nice and slow. Nice. Let's find our downward facing dog again, one more time. Big breath in, we'll swan dive forward, hinge from the hips. Plant the hands down, walk the feet back, downward facing dog. Now from here, we're going to come into our side plank. So let's just come forward for now and drop the knees down. And from here, let's bring the hips in alignment with the shoulders. Actually, let's come onto all fours. I take that back. Let's come onto all fours. Walk the knees under the hips. Take our left foot and kickstand it off to the side. Curl the left toes under. So we're going to do a supported side plank. We're going to take our right leg, reach it back, and then roll the hip open and plant the right foot on the ground. Then we're going to have the shoulder right over the left wrist, and we're going to work to bring the right hand off of the ground. And now right now you can kind of tell that my hips are slightly bumping up. So I want to put a little pressure in the left hand and walk the left knee back and sink the hips so they're in alignment here. So they're not bumped up, they're sinking down. We're engaging the core, belly button in. You might notice a wobbly arm. If your wrist is a little bit sensitive, we can come down onto the elbow. And again, lifting the hips. We want them right in alignment here. Pressing into the right foot. Right hand reaches up towards the sky. Good. Whoops. If you want to come into full side plank, you can take your left knee off the ground, cross it over your right ankle, left ankle over the right ankle, and reach up towards the sky. When you're ready to, right hand comes down. Maybe you give yourself a little rest in child's pose. Maybe we take the wrists and roll them out a few times, and then roll them in a few times. And then we'll switch sides here. Coming forward onto all fours, taking our right toes, kickstanding them off the mat, extend the left leg back, roll the hips open and plant the left foot on the ground. Roll the shoulders open with the right shoulder over the right wrist. Breathing here, left hand up comes up towards the sky. And then notice how the hips are kind of bumped up. Press into the right hand, slide the right knee back. Reach the right hand up towards the sky, let the hips sink in alignment. So they're not dipping down. There's no U shape right here. We're working towards that nice straight line. And then again, if you want to, pressing into the left foot firmly, cross the right ankle over the left ankle. If you're a little more advanced, you can do a couple of pulses, lifting up. Or you can hang out here, right knee on the ground, whatever you prefer. So when you feel like you've had an equal try on both sides, release the hands down, sink back to child's pose, give those wrists a rest, roll them out, and roll them in a few times. All right, so before we get too comfortable in child's pose, find our way up to downward facing dog. Curl the toes under. Maybe our heels sink a little closer towards the ground. Hips reaching back. Let's lift the right leg up and then step the right foot forward up towards the hands. Step the left foot forward. Surrendering the head. And then from here, let's roll it up one vertebrae at a time, rounding the spine, coming all the way up. Shoulders, neck, and head comes up very last. All right, so from here, let's go ahead and come into our warrior one. Act as if you're on like a set of skis and you slide on the same plane, on the same ski. So we're going to take the right leg, slide it back, and then we'll turn our right toes out about 45 degrees. Then from here, we're going to bend the left knee and stack it over the left ankle. Good. Left knee's over the left ankle. Now you can see there's a slight sway or in the lower back. So to save the lower back, we're going to take the tailbone, we're going to tuck it under. Start to feel a nice good stretch here right through our psoas or hip flexor. Press through the right heel. Right leg is nice and straight, so we don't want our right knee bent. If we can avoid it, we want to work to straighten the right knee. Take both legs, squeeze them in towards the center line of the body, engaging the right glute. Left knee is still stacked over the left ankle. Legs are squeezing towards one another. Belly button is drawn in. Heart lifts. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Squeeze the shoulders up towards the ears. Then exhale, roll them back and down away from the ears. Breathing here, warrior one, feeling very strong. Keep squeezing through those legs towards one another. Keep sucking in the belly button and lifting the heart. Shoulders pressing down. Arms reaching open up towards the sky. Good. From here, we're going to come into warrior two. Roll the hips open. Take our right foot, heel toe it back. We want to align the right arch of the foot with the heel of the left foot or the right heel and the left heel. We're working towards sinking our hips down and working to get the left thigh parallel to the ground. Doesn't mean it's going to happen today, but we're working towards that goal with the legs. It's a little much sometimes. Unless you're, an expert at warrior two, which maybe by now you are. Who knows? So anyways, our hips are shifted open to the side of the mat. We want to be able to see our big toe on the inside of the left knee. So if we can't see it as we're looking down, let's and just kind of roll it open just so we can get a sneak peek of that left big toe. Okay? So left knee's over the left heel, big toe is in sight, belly button is drawn in, little tiny tuck in the tailbone. Shoulders are hopefully over the hips. And then we'll bring our arms up and parallel to the ground. Open the chest, reach through the arms, actively reach through the right arm, actively reach through the left arm. Good. And then finally, we'll take our gaze over the left hand. Whew. Left knee is bent. Good. Right leg is straight, reaching through both arms, belly button sucked in, heart is lifted, tailbone slightly tucked. Big toe, still can see it on the inside of the left knee. Maybe sinking a little deeper. Maybe not. Good. From here, let's do reverse warrior. Take our right hand, reach it back. Left hand reaching up and over. Left knee is still bent. Big lunge in the left knee. Reaching up and over with the left hand. Right hand reaching down towards the ground, or sometimes having it on the right hip. Right leg is straight. Good. Inhale, cartwheel the arms back up. Let's bring them all the way down to the ground. Come into downward facing dog. Step the left leg back. Inhale forward to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Let's bring the right foot forward, up in between the hands. Plant the left foot down. Turn the left toes out 45 degrees. Bring the torso up. Our warrior one on this side. Nice straight left leg. Squeezing the legs in towards one another. Right knee over the right ankle. Tailbone tucked under. Belly button dropped. Lift the arms up. And exhale, roll the shoulders down away from the ears. Good. So our right knee isn't going past the toes. We're trying to stack it right over the right heel. Legs squeezing in towards the center line of the body. Left glute is squeezing. Left heel is pressing through the ground. From here, we'll inhale, open up to warrior two on this side. Heel toe walk the left foot back. Working to line up the arch of the foot with the heel or the heels. Good. Slowly taking the right knee, stacking it over the right ankle, sinking the hips down, working towards getting our right thigh parallel to the ground. Again, working towards it. Shoulders over the hips. Bring the arms up parallel to the ground. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Open the chest. And then take the gaze over the right hand. Breathing here. Soften the toes. Big bend in the right knee. Good. Let's come back into reverse warrior. Right knee stays bent. Left hand goes to the left hip. Right hand comes up and over. Or our left hand can reach down towards the ground while our right hand comes up and over. Big bend in the right knee. Breathing here. Inhale, cartwheel up. Exhale, cartwheel down to the ground. Good. Let's do a half series again. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, down dog. Hanging out here in our downward facing dog, let the head hang heavy. Shoulders are rolled open. Biceps are squeezing towards one another. Legs are active. Hips pressing back towards the back of the mat. Breathing here. You can go through one more half series if you prefer, instead of resting in downward facing dog. And if you've gone through your half series or had a few breaths in your downward facing dog, we'll go ahead and reach the right leg up towards the sky. As we exhale, sweep the right foot forward up through the hands. Good. From here, we're going to come into extended angle. We're going to slowly rotate our left foot down to the ground. Let's take the right hand, place it on the inside of the right foot, or place the right forearm on the right thigh. Begin to bring the chest, roll the shoulders open, and then reach the left hand up over the ear, extended angle. The hand can be on the ground, or we can use our handy dandy block. So you can reach your left hand up towards the sky or up and over the ear. Up and over the ear is a little bit more advanced. Your choice. From extended angle, we're going to cartwheel up, straighten the right front leg. We're going to balance up the hips, extend the arms out. From here, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Reach the right hand forward, shift the weight in the hips, kind of dipping the right hip, reaching through the right hand, and then cartwheel the arms. Right hand comes to the right shin, not the right knee. You can go above the knee or below the knee, but not directly on the knee. Left hand up towards the sky. Chest is opening here, and hips are opening. So if we're more in a hinge at the hip, and our chest is kind of facing over the right leg, we want to roll the hips open, roll the chest open, and hinge from the side of the hip. Get some length in the spine. Now we can also use the block for this as well. We just want to keep from collapsing here as we use the block. So we want a nice long side body here. And then reach up towards the sky. And that active reaching up towards the sky helps counteract some of that sinking that we do into the right leg. Also notice if we're hyperextending. Right now my right leg is locked out, so I want to give it a little tiny bend. Not a big bend, but just enough to loosen up that right knee. Good. Let's do reverse triangle pose. Cartwheel up, big breath in. And switch directions. Both legs are straight here. And release the arms. Let's cartwheel all the way back down to the floor. Step back, switch sides. Find our downward facing dog. Take the left leg up towards the sky. Exhale, sweep it forward. Rotate, pivot on that back right foot. Left hand to the inside of the left foot or left forearm on the thigh, your choice. Roll the chest open. Reach the left hand up towards the sky. Sink the hips down so they become in alignment. If that's a little much for us, come onto our block. Good. We can extend the arm up and over. Or we can be the forearm on the thigh. Right hand up to the sky or up and over. Your choice. Whatever feels most comfortable for you. And then, of course, breathing, right? That's the hardest part, is to keep breathing, because you're like, oh, I'm holding this pose. I'm trying so hard. Now I'm panting. Good. Let's go ahead and inhale, cartwheel up. Straighten both legs. Whee! If we need to hop up a little bit. Sometimes our extended angle gives us that really wide stance. Extend the arms. Look forward over the left hand. Shift the weight, shift the hips, kind of hinge at the hips. Our body is still open towards the side. Reaching, reaching, reaching. Little micro bend in the left knee. And then cartwheel the arms. Left hand goes down to the left shin or left thigh, avoiding the knee. Right hand reaches up towards the sky. Notice if we're dumping into the side here. Extend, lift, lengthen through the side body. So if your hip is shifting forward, let's see if we can take the hips, slide them back, pretend you're on a wall. And you're trying to get both glutes on the wall, both shoulder blades on the wall, and maybe both wrists on the wall. Good, let's inhale, reverse triangle. Same flat plane. Reach back, drop the right hand, left hand reaches up. And again, calf, quad, hip, come back up, and release. Hop up, maybe shake it out a little bit. Okay, we're gonna work our way, well, let's do a standing pose first, actually. Let's do our tree pose. And from here, feet are hip distance apart. We're working on opening up the hips on our tree pose, opening up the chest, or keeping the chest open. So we'll shift the weight onto our right leg. Micro bend in the right knee. Plant down through the heel. Spread the toes wide. Get each one of the toes down onto the mat. Kickstand the left toes. Take the left knee and open it up. Turn it out towards the side of the mat. Now you can stay here, actively taking the left foot, pressing it into the right ankle, and taking the right ankle and pressing it back into the left foot. Or you can bring the left foot up to the calf, press firmly into the calf. Same thing, right calf pressing firmly into the foot. Or you can take the left foot, press it into the thigh, inner thigh. Same thing, inner thigh pressing back into the foot. Lift the chest up. Good, let's bring the arms up. Maybe exhale, bring them into heart center. Breathing here, squeezing through both palms. Shoulders back, down away from the ears. Can also reach the arms up. Big old bushy tree. Breathing here. If we're feeling real advanced, maybe we take the left foot into the crease of the right hip. Sometimes that feels a little funky for our knee, so just again, what feels best for your body. 2 more breaths here. Maybe start to feel some fire in that right foot. Come out of it when you're ready to. Shake it off. Shake out any tension we created. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. So, Tadasana, mountain pose. Belly button drawn in, trunk of the tree, very strong. Toes rooted down, shifting the weight to the left, kickstanding the right toes. And again, finding that openness in the hips, connecting through the legs, wherever that looks like for us. Each side's different. Also, this is a great check to see if you're a little dehydrated, if you need some water. You'll find that it might be a little more challenging to balance. Belly button's drawn in, shoulders back, maybe hands to heart center. Actively pressing through both legs. Can reach up if we prefer. Maybe bring a smile to our face and our happy little tree. Kind of like that Bob Ross guy. Here's a happy little tree. Good, chest open, whether our hands are at heart center or reaching out. Pressing firmly through the legs. Little tiny bend, micro bend in that left knee. And when we feel like we had an equal try on both sides, bring the hands back to heart center. Release the legs. Shake out any tension we may have created. All right, so let's go do a couple of back bends. We'll do locust first, mild back bend, and then our boat pose. So inhale, sweep up. Exhale, swan dive. Plant the hands down and walk the feet back. Find down dog. From down dog, come to plank. Lower it down with the chaturanga. Make sure your face is over your mat. And then from here, locust pose. We're going to zip the legs together. So squeeze the legs together. And then reach the arms back towards the knees, towards the hips. And then when you're ready to, as we inhale, we're going to inhale and lift the chest up off the ground. Lifting here. Good. And then next inhale, we're going to lift the legs off the ground. Reach the hands back towards the legs. Squeezing through the lower back here, lifting the chest, flying through the air like a locust. Breathing. Lift the legs. And exhale, release. Take your gaze over your left shoulder. Hang out here. Let's take 2 breaths here. And then when you're ready to, bring your spine back to neutral. Zip the legs together. And as we inhale, we're going to inhale, bring the chest up off the ground. Next inhale, lift the legs up off the ground. Reach the hands back towards the feet. Breathing here, lifting up as high as you can. Take 2 more breaths in here, locust pose. Lift up, lengthen, squeeze through the lower back, squeeze the glutes. And exhale, release. Take your gaze over your left, or your right shoulder, your other left. Breathing here. And then before we get too comfortable, we'll find our bow pose. I'll cue for half bow. But if you feel like going into full bow at the same time, you're welcome to. Bring your head back to neutral. Slowly take the right foot, bring it towards your right glute. Reach back with the right hand. Reach for the arch of the foot or reach for the ankle. Your choice. I like to reach for the ankle. If we're reaching for the ankle, we need to flex through the heel. Same thing for the arch of the foot. We still need to flex through the heel so we have a nice, firm, we're not wrenching around on our ankle. We're going to bring our left hand in front of the face, plant the left forearm down. And then when you're ready to, what leads this pose, what drives this pose, is a little lift in the leg. So we'll kind of lift the right leg up off the ground, right? So we'll feel our right hip bone kind of pressing into the ground. And then what really drives the pose is taking the left ankle and pressing back through it. So there's not really any weight in this front left hand. So taking the right ankle, pressing back into the right hand. It's kicking you up and lifting the leg up towards the sky. Breathing here. Our left hand is just here, so in case we slip, we don't smack down on the ground. Breathing here. Half bow. Now, if you want to come into full bow, go ahead and bend the left knee, reach back with the left hand, and come into full bow. But I'm just going to do half bow for now. Good. We'll exhale slowly. Come back down. Release. Switch sides. Right forearm comes in front of the face. Left knee bends. Reach back with the left hand. Find whatever you can grab. Flex through the heel. When you're ready to, reach up with left knee off the mat. Deep breath in. On the exhale, kick back through that left leg, left ankle. Kick back, kick back, kick back. No pressure on the right hand. It's just here, just in case. Breathing here. Squeeze the lower back. Lift up. Lift the left leg up. We're not splaying out to the side like a frog. Squeezing the legs towards one another. Good. Breathing, holding here. Keep kicking up through the sky. Kicking back. And we'll come back down. And why not? Let's just go ahead and come into full bow. When you're ready to. Let's bend the knees, reach back with the hands, reaching for the ankles or the arches of the foot with a flex through the heel. So now, as we reach for the ankles, sometimes our legs splay out to the side, so we don't want to do that. We want to keep the legs squeezing towards one another. Sometimes it helps to take the hands to the insides of the legs. Sometimes outside. All right, so when you're ready to, squeeze the legs towards one another, flex through the heels, deep breath in, lift the legs, knees off the ground. Exhale, press back into the legs. Press into the shin bones, press into the ankle bones. Lift up, reach up. Look up. Squeeze the knees towards one another. And you can exhale and release whenever you want to. Take the hands underneath the shoulders. Slightly peel the heart off the ground. Keep the knees planted where they are for a moment. And then sink back into child's pose. Uncurl the toes, let the hips sink down towards the heels. Good. Before we get too comfortable, coming back up onto all fours, let's go ahead and sweep the legs around. And from here, let's do a boat pose. So we want to remove the fleshy parts from underneath the sits bones. Get the sits bones rooted into the ground. From here, we'll try to plant down through the sits bones, the ischium, and the tailbone, coccyx. Getting that nice little tripod. As we start to do that, starting to lean back, we keep the chest lifted. So as soon as we start to hunch the chest, we lose the tailbone. The coccyx goes away, it tucks under. So really make a conscious effort to keep the heart lifted. Suck the belly button in towards the spine. And we're hinging back from the hips. As we hinge back from the hips, we'll find that little floaty spot where our feet start to come up. Now we can place the hands underneath the knees and then straighten the arms. So if you really just want to relax in boat pose, have the arms straight, let the legs just sink down, keeping the chest lifted. If you'd like to do some work in the pose, we're not pressing into the hands. Our hands are simply here just to remind us to lift the chest up. So our elbows are kind of bent here. Good. And then we can get a little more advanced. We can bring the shins up and parallel to the ground. Chest lifted. Shoulders rolled back away from the ears. If we want to get a little more fancy, we can release the hands. If we want to get a little more fancy than that, we can straighten the legs. So straightening the legs, breathing here. If you want to get more fancy than that, you can start rowing a boat, coming back, and then up, going as low as you can. My wall kind of limits me, so you know that row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. You can do that as many times as you'd like, or you can just stay here. Whatever your boat looks like, a little mini tugboat or a huge yacht, totally up to you. A few more breaths here. Maybe you even want to do big toe wide boat. You can take your 2 peace fingers, place them between the big toes and the second toe, cap the thumb on the toe, and then begin to straighten the legs. Maybe they're bent, maybe they're straight, maybe they're nice and wide. Same thing, same trick with this one. If the chest starts to concave, we'll roll back. So you keep the chest lifted, tailbone and sits bones down on the mat. Breathing here. And when you're ready to, let's come back to center. Release the legs. Let's do one more core, or maybe a few more core. Let's come into incline plank. So for incline plank, we want to squeeze the legs towards one another so the feet are touching. Place the hands underneath the shoulders. We're kind of leaning back just slightly, ever so slightly. We want our fingers pointing towards our hips. Or if we're saving our wrists, we can also do fist for wrist, making a nice big fist. We want the back side of the hand to face the outsides of the mat. Okay, so whatever feels most comfortable for you. When you're ready to, squeeze firmly through the feet, press the heels into the mat, squeeze the legs together, deep breath in, exhale, press into the mat, start to lift the hips up. Keep lifting the hips up, point through the toes, keep lifting the hips up, engage the core, bring the belly button in towards the spine, press through the hands, roll the shoulders back, squeeze through the shoulder blades. You can keep your chin tucked to your chest, or if you prefer to look up at the sky. Keep breathing here, lift those hips up, press through the feet, squeeze the legs together, press through the hands, press the earth away from you. And exhale, release. Good. Roll out the wrists. Roll the wrists inward. Perfect. So if you want to, you can do that one more time, or as many times as you want to. You can even do it after class is over. It's a great core workout. So from here, let's go ahead and bend the knees. Use the hands on the knees to help roll down around the spine. Come down onto the mat. All right, so from here, let's do our bridge pose. Walk the feet as close to the hips as you can. Reach the hands down. See if you can feel the heels. Press the shoulder blades down into the mat. Squeeze the shoulder blades towards one another. Then plant down, kind of take your belly, press it down towards the ground. As we inhale, kind of scooping up the tailbone, peeling the spine away from the mat, like a banana. Maybe a slight tuck of the chin to the chest, or our head is on a neutral, looking up towards the sky. We're not looking left or right. Our legs are squeezing towards one another. We want to try to keep the knees over the heels. Lifting up. Breathing here, bridge pose. Keep pressing through the feet. If you want to, you can try to come up onto the arches, the balls of the feet, lifting the heels off the ground. Notice our knees aren't splaying out to the side. They're squeezing towards one another. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the quads, lift the hips up. And then let's roll it down one vertebrae at a time. Our heels will come down last if we've pulled those off the mat. Perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and give a big squeeze to the knees. Bring them in towards the chest. Maybe rock from side to side if that feels good for you. And then when you're ready to, let's extend the legs all the way out in front of us. Let's give our body one last long stretch. Extend the arms out above our head. Stretch the tips of the toes away from the tips of the fingers. Longest stretch you'll take all day right here. And then exhale, release. Bring the hands right back beside their body. Coming into shavasana. This is the pose that we come to class for, right? Let the toes open up. Let the shoulders melt into the ground. Close the eyes. And just for a few moments, take this time for yourself. Take a moment to have a thought of gratitude for how much work your body did for you and how much work you did for your body. It's okay to take time for yourself. It's okay if our body didn't fit into all the poses. We make the poses fit our body. We do what we can. No expectations. No judgments. Let's take a few more breaths in here. See if we can fill in every tiny last little inch of our body with air. So big breath in. Keep breathing in, keep breathing in. Fill that last little bit of air, fill the mouth, fill the nose. And then exhale, sigh it all out. Let's begin to gently draw the knees in towards the chest. Give them one more last big squeeze. Maybe even tuck the chin towards the chest. And then let's release the feet down by keeping the knees bent. Roll over to the right side of the body. And just hang out in that fetal pose for just a moment. And when you feel ready to, press the hands into the mat. Bring ourselves all the way up to a seated pose. Maybe even keeping the eyes closed if you prefer. Lift the heart up tall. Roll the shoulders up to the ears and then back and down away from the ears. Let's bring our hands to heart center. I'd like to thank you for coming to class today, practicing with me, sharing the time, taking the time for yourself. I hope you enjoyed the class. And until next time, Namaste. If you want to, leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of the class. And if you have any suggestions or classes that you would like, things to work on, let me know. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great day. Bye.